By Justin Parkinson, BBC News. Hello. Here's your morning briefing. Image copyright Getty Images. Priti Patel in serious trouble over Israel meetings. International Development Secretary Priti Patel is coming under increasing pressure over the revelations that she met senior political and business figures while on a private holiday to Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was among those she spoke to in August without first informing the Foreign Office. Labour is demanding an inquiry into whether Ms. Patel broke the ministerial code. BBC political editor Laura Kuntzberg said sources had told her the cabinet minister was in serious trouble. After her holiday, Ms. Patel, who has apologised over the meetings, asked the Foreign Office to consider supporting humanitarian operations by the Israeli army in the occupied Golan Heights, a request turned down as inappropriate. Another minister said Downing Street regarded the matter as closed. Don't try us, Trump warned. North Korea's President Donald Trump has recommenced his strongly worded criticisms of North Korea. Speaking in South Korea, as part of his Asian tour, he called the government of Kim Jong-un a military cult running a tragic experiment in the laboratory of history. Referring to recent nuclear threats, he warned, "Do not underestimate us. Do not try us." The comments came ahead of Mr. Trump visiting China, North Korea's biggest ally, for talks with President Xi Jinping. Get news from the BBC in your inbox. Each weekday morning. Paradise Papers. Prince Charles lobbied on climate policy after shares purchase. If details of the leaked Paradise Papers showing the tax arrangements of the wealthy and powerful continue to enter the public domain. The BBC's Panorama has found that the Prince of Wales campaigned to alter climate change agreements without disclosing his private estate had an offshore financial interest in what he was promoting. In 2007, the Duchy of Cornwall secretly bought shares worth $113,500 £86,000 in a Bermuda company that would benefit from a rule change. The Duchy of Cornwall says the Prince has no direct involvement in its investments. As more stories come out, here's all you need to know about the Paradise Papers. 1 year on, would Donald Trump win an election today? By Owen Amos, BBC News, Washington, D.C. Since the 20th of January, Gallup has carried out a daily poll, asking Americans whether they approve of the job Donald Trump is doing. The numbers aren't great. From June, Mr. Trump's approval rating has usually been below 40%. On the 29th of October, it was just 33%. But, says Frank Newport, Gallup's editor-in-chief, that doesn't mean Donald Trump would lose a hypothetical election. He may be trending down a little, but if you look at the big picture from March or so, there's not a dramatic change, he says. Gallup also tracked Mr. Trump's popularity before the election. He's unpopular now and he was unpopular then, says Mr. Newport. Read the full article. What the papers say. The Daily Telegraph reports that the future of Priti Patel is in the balance, adding that she has been left isolated by Downing Street amid the controversy over her meetings in Israel. Meanwhile, several newspapers lead on the suspected suicide of Carl Sargent, a senior Labour Welsh politician. And the Financial Times says US financial institutions are warning the country's Commerce Secretary that slow progress over Brexit may force them to start moving jobs away from the UK. Daily Digest echoes shooting gunman Devon Kelly escaped from a mental hospital in 2012. Shamrock Poppy. Irish PM wears tribute to country's World War I soldiers in Parliament. Advanced cancer. Thousands living for several years after diagnosis, says Macmillan. Doubling up Twitter to expand use of 280-character posts. If you watch One Thing Today, the dog that orbited the Earth. If you listen to One Thing Today, why we love giraffes. If you read One Thing Today, Spain's basks on Catalonia's defiance. Today's look ahead. Today, the winners of the Gillard Awards for BBC Local Radio are announced in a ceremony at Coventry Cathedral. 2000 actor and equality campaigner Sir Ian McKellen speaks at the Oxford Union. On this day 1987, a bomb exploded during a Remembrance Day service at Enniskillen in County Fermanagh, killing 11 people. Another victim went into a coma and died 13 years later. From elsewhere, retracing the steps of ISIS's worst ever atrocity. Independent to murder convictions for one shot. New York. Photographs of North Korea. Creative Review. Fart happened when my partner became Prime Minister. Guardian.